Well, another trip around the sun for Anderson County. Rusty, what would you say are the two or three biggest things that happened in the county this year?
That's hard to say. I mean, continuing investment in Anderson County, that's always good, and it's a continuing process. And just finishing up a lot of recreation projects. We're able to pave a lot of roads with some special funds that we received over the year. There's a whole lot of little things that add up to one good year. So really not one thing stands out.
All right, we'll get to some of those details in a minute. What grade would you give the economy for the year this year in Anderson County?
Well, if you wanted a job, it's an A+. And I think the opportunities are out there, and I think the opportunities to be trained for a good job are out there. The opportunities for people to leave a lesser paying job for a more well-paying job, those opportunities are out there. So I think in terms of job creation, our economy has been very good. Like everybody else, everybody's been concerned with high prices and high gasoline prices and high interest prices. But the interest rates in the last couple of days have started trending downward, so that's a good sign. Some of these things appear to be stabilized. They won't go back to the levels they were. But all in all, Anderson's economy compared to other places in the United States is booming.
You have any idea how many jobs were created this year?
The ones that I'm aware of that the county assisted in creating is probably 1,500. But there are a lot of jobs that are created that we don't know about.
Oh yeah, one of the things in recruitment this year, I think the county added a new country to our international investment.
Yes, but well, I don't know. I think in that investment in particular, I think we added 3 countries. I think we added Italy, Monaco, and France all in one. So it is truly a multinational company with many flags.
And is it true that Anderson County still has the most international investment?
In Southeast we do right now, and we have more coming that we're already working on.
50 businesses, and now we got 19 or 20 countries or something?
Yeah, I know we have at least 20 countries, and we're going to have some more foreign expansion in Anderson County real quick in the new year that we're working on right now.
Why do we have so many international companies?
Well, because we recruit international companies, and because of the county council's desire to have a diverse economy, we look everywhere. And usually, if you have 1, 2, or 3, like Michelin being here and Bosch being here, a premier French company, a premier German company, it tells other people that this is a good place to do business. I mean, we had 2 Irish companies, and one of those recruited another Irish company because they said, hey, Anderson County is a good place to do business. So they're actually recruiting people from their countries to come to Anderson.
And news today that South Carolina is one of the fastest growing states in the country. That can't hurt recruitment at all either.
Oh, that doesn't hurt recruitment at all. And I mean, those numbers continue to just blow up from various sources, from Anderson County Transportation Committee to other sources, to get more roads paved this year. And we still need millions of dollars to bring the Anderson County roads up to standard, not only for the attraction of business, but for the people who live here, for the very simple fact good roads mean less car repair. It means ease of transportation. Mr. Newton, my associate, will talk later about some grants that he's gotten that have a direct effect on transportation. But safe roads are good for everybody, are also good for economic development.
And Council has passed on second reading, putting forth a referendum in November for a penny sales tax.
That would last 7 years and raise $49 million a year. At the end of 7 years, it would go off. That $49 million would help us tackle the 1,500 miles of county road, the around 500 miles of roads in the cities, and also allow us to co-partner with SCDOT on some projects to get them moved up higher up on the list.
And if voters approve that referendum, it will pretty much take care of the road problems that have been waiting for so long.
Absolutely. We would then be known as the Good Roads County because we would have the best roads in the state.
And if the voters don't vote for it, what happens?
We're going to still struggle along as best we can. There's a huge cry for quality of life items. We're finishing up a project at Dolly Cooper, which will probably break ground in January. We're able to secure some money to do some more work at Dolly Cooper. The design work at Kid Venture is ongoing and almost complete. It's going to allow us to begin that process thanks to $750,000 we received from Senator Cash. We've got work going on in all county parks and work planned at some county parks that we can't get to, all the way from Mountain View on Lake Russell to improvements at Green Pond to improvements on the Saluda River. We've got a score of those issues. The sewer budget is separate. It's a special revenue bond. So in essence, it funds itself. But we have to assist it with grants, and we have to assist it out of the general fund with capital projects. And so it's $100 million that we have, and we're building a new wastewater treatment plant with Pendleton and Clemson. That's going to be a very expensive item. There's $20 million right there that just go into that because we have to do it. And the increasing environmental regulations makes doing sewer work more costly than it was. We still can't get equipment to finish sewer projects that we have. They're still somewhere. Pumps and rotors are still somewhere in the Pacific Ocean riding around in a ship. So, you know, it's just something all the time with sewer, but there's a huge demand for sewer. So,
are there any other things that are sort of hidden that people don't think about that are in the budget?
Well, I mean, there are things like, you know, like the 911 dispatchers. You know, you never think about them until you need them, okay? So they're there, and we pay for them, and we try to pay them. You can't pay a 911 dispatcher what they really deserve, which would probably be $250,000 a year. But you have things like that. We run Greg Smith runs an absolutely great solid waste operation. You don't think about that when you go recycle. Do you think about when you're recycling that we're going to sell those recyclables, which is going to keep the solid waste fees down? I mean, you know, all of these things, and we do a great job of that thanks to Greg Smith. But there are a whole lot of other things, like our airport's booming right now, booming with flights, corporate flights coming in almost on a daily basis, more than one, numerous flights coming in out there. Still hoping we can finally get that playground built out there to make it a nice park out there. But you don't think about the airport unless you have something to do with the airport. We had a nice announcement that we sent you yesterday where the fixed base operator who does the maintenance on aircraft, they are renting our old public works building over there, and they just purchased a company from Massachusetts. So we're going to be becoming one of the places, if you have a helicopter, to get it repaired, serviced, painted. Also going to have a flight school. All of those things are going on at the Anderson County Airport, and you wouldn't normally think about things like that. So there are a lot of things that the county does that people don't, it doesn't readily come to mind, but the county's doing that. Like EMS, with our EMS group. You know, we're running all those paramedics all around the county. You usually don't notice them until you need them. Then you have a situation where we have emergency preparedness, where they're always doing active shooter training, all of these different kinds of classes, making sure that if something bad happens, that Anderson County is ready. And I think we have a great response, proven track record to responding to emergencies and disasters. All of those things are going on all the time. Some of those things are going on 24 hours a day. We're also building the jail, and we're getting very close to building that jail. And if you notice, if you read newspapers around the state, that Richland County is in a big world of trouble because their jail is old and outdated. Charleston County is in the same way, and we're building our jail just in the nick of time thanks to County Council. Plans will be ready real quick, real quick.
All right, we're mid-year on the budget. How's everything looking budget?
Look, everything's good budget-wise. Everything's tracking along like it should. Because of the new industries and business, we're doing good. But we always run, County Council, we run frugally. We don't have zillions and zillions of excess dollars. We don't take taxpayers' money and stack it up for a rainy day fund. Do we have 2-month emergency fund? Yes. What's the accountants recommend that you have? But you know, some counties have $100 million. I don't know what you're doing with it. Are you a bank or are you a county? One of the most important things that we do is try to find as much money as we can so we don't have to raise taxes in Anderson County. And my partner associate is Mr. Steve Newton, who in addition to his government liaison activities also is probably the best grants person in the United States of America. And he's able to find everything that we need so the taxpayers don't have to pay for it. Do some taxpayers have to pay for it? Because they always say that. Well, it's still taxpayers' money. Yeah, but it's taxpayers' money from New Jersey or someplace like that. And as long as it's out there, we're going to do everything we can to get as much of it as we can for Anderson County. And so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Steve Newton.
Greg, we've got quite a few exciting things on the horizon here in our here in the grants office. One thing that I'm excited about announcing very, very soon, perhaps in the coming days, is the official award of some opioid recovery money from the state opioid settlement. We're looking at approval of almost $500,000 in projects for this year alone. Earlier this year, we submitted a slate of projects for review by the Opioid Recovery Board. We have access to a certain amount of funds that have been awarded to us for use for projects here in Anderson County. However, there are limitations on how these funds can be used. So what we have to do is we have to submit to the Opioid Recovery Board there at the state level a very detailed description of what it is we are going to be doing with the money for either do one or several projects, however we wish to do, and then the Opioid Recovery Board reviews that to make sure that everything is in compliance, and then we hear back from them. And that's an ongoing process. They'll have like 4 such cycles per year from here on out. What we're going to be able to do with the money is we're going to be able to work with a consulting group that we will select, and in essence just have a good comprehensive look at the community and where our problems are with regard to traffic safety. Not just roads, but also bicyclists, pedestrians. We have to look at the whole scope of things. Now, there are plenty of places out there in the community that we're all aware of, where this curve is dangerous, this tree needs to be cut. People down this road, they come flying around through here. We know of those areas. We all kind of have a sense of those. We want to get those all on one, just kind of get them all on one list so we can all see what we're dealing with. But also it's very important for us during this process to try to reach out to people with problems that we may not be quite as familiar with. Numbers tell me that there's a section of Shockley Ferry Road that is very dangerous for pedestrians. You haven't really heard a clamor, so to speak, about it, but it's there, and that's something that we're aware of internally, and I think that we need to consider as part of this process. So what we're doing here, this is a first step, but it's the right step to take. We take this, we do it right, then we'll be able to access funding regularly from the Safe Streets for All program and make comprehensive improvements in all areas of the county. Also, we expect to hear back very soon on an application we've turned in for the use of the county's Energy Efficiency Conservation Block Grant funding. We were awarded several $100,000 from the EECBG program. We are going to be, if our project is approved, and I expect to hear back on that again any day now, what we are going to do with those funds, we're going to use part of it to do energy efficiency upgrades in some very large county buildings, such as 1428 and the Annex and other big buildings with a lot of high energy use. We're going to see a dramatic decrease in our energy bills and an increase in our energy conservation. But also what we're going to do with a portion of these funds is we're going to start a pilot program where we are going to try to use these funds to incorporate energy efficiency upgrades into owner-occupied homes that are owned by senior citizens who are of low to moderate income. A lot of times we have funding that we are available to get from the state to come in and do wheelchair ramps or other improvements, or maybe even replace their HVAC system, but we don't have the money available to put in a layer of insulation in the attic or in the crawl space or however it may be. And that's something that will translate into some real energy savings for these folks. And I'm looking forward to introducing that project, see what kind of results we get from there. We have just finished working with a group called the Green Infrastructure Center through a program founded by the South Carolina Forestry Commission. They've assisted us in preparing what we call a tree canopy map. This is basically an inventory of the county's tree canopy, and we're going to be introducing those maps to the public shortly after the first of the year. It's been mostly an internal process because basically we're just focusing on what's in the ground right now, or what's coming out of the ground right now, I should say. Get that baseline inventory. But again, like the Safe Streets for All program, what this will do is this will set us up for additional funding to where we can do more targeted strategies in areas throughout the community where more tree canopy is needed, find ways to incorporate solutions where tree canopy is being lost, how we can replace that. And this is, again, not just beneficial for all the happy green stuff that people like me like, but also it has an impact on stormwater, which I think that everybody is very sensitive to now, especially in this day and age of development. But this is the first step in a process to where we'll get to where we can have a program where measures such as these are evaluated, and we have an ongoing system to where we can encourage replacement of tree canopy, where we as the county can target some areas where we can do some planning on our own, where we can work with developers on how best to use tree canopy to abate stormwater issues. Just a host of things that I think will be very beneficial to the public. And again, a lot of this will be able to be funded as we go along through outside sources like federal, state, and foundation grants. The fact is that the system right now, there are grants available through the federal level, through the state level, through the regional level. This is money that is available to us. We would be negligent in our responsibilities to the taxpayers if we didn't find every way we could to drag as much grant money kicking and screaming here into the county. We don't go after grants just for, oh, well, it'd be nice to do this, that, or the other. There's specific reasons behind every grant that we go after. Either we're improving infrastructure, or we're setting up something to where we are actually being able to provide direct assistance to the public, like doing owner-occupied housing repair for senior citizens and such. These funds are out there. We've got to chase them down. And until the system changes, that's exactly what we're going to do.
There seems to have been some movement across the county in cleaning up some of the mill sites. Is 2024 the year we finally start to see some of those ready for use?
We received $1 million thanks to Senator Mike Gamble to clean up the Chicola Mill. We're trying to turn that into a total of $3 million. We're working on that. Looks like we're going to have progress on Equinox this year because finally some of those programs that they put on hold are going to come to pass so we can get Equinox off the ground. We met with Pendleton this week. They're making good progress on the mill site in downtown Pendleton, and we're also involved in the mill situation in Pelzer, aiding and abetting them in any way we can to make that happen. We also possibly have something that will go on the Toxaway mill site that the county cleaned up, and we have about 32 acres there. So, yes, we're hoping we can get some of those mills cleaned up this year and move it at a faster pace.
Saluda River Blue Trail also posted some growth in 2023 with new places to put in on the river. Remind everybody of what was added this year and where we're at on that.
Well, what was added this year is we purchased that 29 acres right there below the dam in in Piedmont, and we're looking to develop that. As a matter of fact, we received grant money to develop that park, and hopefully that's going to start going this year and moving out at a good rate of speed. Our goal was the river was there. Nobody paid attention to it. Just like Chairman Dunn said, we have Lake Hartwell. It's an undervalued, underutilized resource. So we've made a lot of improvements on the Saluda River that has caused economic development to occur in that area. And it really hasn't gotten to the peak where it's really going to start steamrolling. But lots that you used to get over there for $2.50 now are becoming extremely valuable. The river's cleaner than it's ever been. There are more amenities and more people are aware of it to take advantage of it.
Then there's Hartwell Lake, the other big water. What was, do you think, the biggest news from the lake this year?
That we are absolutely the premier destination for anybody wanting to have a fishing tournament. Last week we had a fishing tournament and we had 250 boats. 250 boats, that's 250 people. There are 2 people in a boat. There's 500 fishermen and everything else that goes along with it. Those fishing tournaments pump a lot of money into the local economy. a whole lot of money. Hopefully we're going to get another grant for Green Pond, and we're going to be able to put another ramp in, which is part of the original plan. But we try to do as much as we can, like we do with everything, with grant money, and the sport fishing grant's going to come up, and we're probably going to get that. And if we get that, we've already gotten more sport fishing grants than anybody else. And I'm pretty sure with this one, that'll be another notch on our belt that we've got another grant for them, but because it does what we told them it would do. And DNR loves it, and they vouch for us. They say, yeah, this is doing what it was supposed to do.
Well, one of the biggest things that at least visibly happened this year was the walking trail that goes from the backside of ANMED's trail all the way to the Civic Center. It seems to be getting more and more used every day from what I noticed. How was that track funded? That was
all grant funds and DOT money. There's no local money that went into that. The county maintains the amenities on the trail. It's a state highway, and we're looking to add other amenities on that trail. And as you know, we're also trying to work on connecting that trail with a trail to Belton, South Carolina, along the old P&N rail corridor. We're working very hard to expand our trail network, and people use it, people love it, and that's only going to continue.
And will there be an official opening when they get the tweaks done on that?
We should be having that official opening within the next 2 months, and if not, I do not know why.
At the Civic Center, the new amphitheater stage saw a fair amount of activity this year. Any idea of how much that brought in this year? Those new?
I haven't seen the final numbers on that yet, but you know we've got that 2-day country music festival coming in because of that stage, and we get a lot of things because we have that stage that don't even need that stage, but they know that we have the capability to handle something of that size. So we're looking for a banner year at the Civic Center, better than we've done in a long, long time. And again, as everybody, they don't know, but they say, well, you know, that Civic Center's not used. That Civic Center's used just about every day, from some civic organization or a concert or a group having a meeting like at Christmas time. All of the large organizations use that Civic Center. So it is constantly in motion.
What's the biggest news from Paws this year? Is the dog park getting a lot of use?
Dog park gets a lot of use, but you know, you talk about last week we had a seizure by the Sheriff's Department. We took in 16 animals last week. That includes the goldfish. So you never know when you're going to get these things, when you're going to get a huge influx in the animals. But people still donate a lot of their personal money to Paws. We appreciate that. And we still try to do as much good as we can. If you can't afford dog food, we will get you dog food or cat food. We will do everything we can to keep that animal in your home if we can. We will do spay and neuter. We'll do just about anything to make sure that an animal has a good home. Can we do everything we can? Do we have instances where we just can't do anything? Yes, and it tears us up, but it hurts them more than it does me. I mean, we've got Randy Lee, who is the angel of Paws. She's actually delivering animals dressed up as Mrs. Santa Claus over the holidays. I mean, this is what they think of. This is what they do. They do everything they can to take care of those animals.
Council gave final approval to the $8.3 million bond to do repairs for the historic courthouse this week. Remind people what's going to be done here and how fast it can be done.
We hope it's going to be done very fast. It's going to start about 2 weeks into January. We're going to put a new roof on this building. We're going to replace rotting timbers. We're going to repoint the bricks. It's all going to be to make this building last another 125 years. No, we're not building plush offices in here. The offices that look like they do now are going to look like they did afterwards. This is all structural, and really that's it. That's what it is.
Is there any update on repairing the elevators in the new courthouse?
We're still waiting on parts. That's all we do is wait on parts.
But it pushed the courts out into other buildings. How's that gone?
Wonderfully well, without a glitch. As a matter of fact, the attorneys love to come to the old courthouse and try cases. They love that. You can hear. And we have 2 temporary courtrooms set up at 1428 at our facility over there. And that's been going very, very smoothly. So a situation that could have been disastrous was worked out in 2 days thanks to Rena, clerk of court, and everything's flowed very smoothly without a glitch.
When you mentioned 1428, that was my next question. It really seems to have taken off this year. Remind people what goes on out there. It's a big county, certainly has a lot of offices out there now.
Well, we have solid waste out there. We have public works out there, but we also have Clemson Extension Service. We also have a number of businesses in our business incubator. We also have soft landing zone. We also have some space where people can store materials. Large companies can store materials until they can get a building built. We have a large part of the Sheriff's Department out there. We have economic development is out there. It is fully used. And like I told you, I've said many times on here before, when we got that 550,000 square foot building, I was going, my goodness, what will we do with this? And now it is absolutely bursting at the seams.
You touched on EMS earlier, and we've had another year to watch that. What grade would you give the EMS countywide project?
I give it A+ because I hear the complaints, and I probably have received 4 or 5, 6 complaints over the whole year. And I think it's working very well, and I'm very proud of the operation that they run, and they will continue to improve and continue to get better. They were awarded the best system in the state. The director was awarded the best director in the state. So I think things are only going to get better.
And as we talk about 2023 and year, right across the street, you got the 48-foot Christmas tree.
Yep.
And the annual lighting was kind of delayed from rain this year, but it continues to be a focal point for the holidays. Any plans for keeping it lit from Thanksgiving on next year?
That is our goal. Instead of turning it on for Thanksgiving and then turning it off and turning it back on, I think it needs to be lit up the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and leave it for the holidays.
This morning you went out to another memorial service for indigent folks who were forgotten with nowhere to be buried in the county. How's that been received by the families and the public?
It has been one of the best things we've ever done. In the past, you put them in potter's fields and things like that, but now we have that beautiful memorial up on that hill looking down into that valley. And
at the Civic Center.
At the Civic Center, across from the Environmental Recycling Center. And we said when we did that, because we had the big opening ceremony, we said that we would do it once a year faithfully to have dignity for those people whose names are up on that wall, whose ashes are scattered in that graveyard. And we had that this morning. And it's always one of the good feeling things that we do, because Anderson County likes to take care of its people while they're living, even after they're not here anymore. It's always something going on in Anderson County, and we have a lot of exciting things coming up in the new year, a lot of opportunities, a lot of things to make Anderson County a better place, and council's doing a lot of retooling and looking at things and trying to improve codes enforcement, anything we can do to improve services. That's what they're interested in.